Monday afternoon, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm still on Friday night. So me, Amy, here with Sandy and Russell for Author Talk, and our guest today is Marylyn Harris. So everyone say hi.
Hi, everyone, and I'm Marylyn. And Marylyn, welcome to Author Talk. We're so glad to have you with us today. What a day, what a Monday this has been already. I don't know about you guys, but I have been just on the phone or making calls all day already. So good day, good way to start out the week. And Amy and I had a short call earlier. We were working on the launch of Through the Eyes of Authors, and that's coming up very shortly. You'll be getting an email about it. If you're on my email list, you'll be getting an email about it later today. If you're not on my email list and want to be, you can send me an email, put it in the comment, or go to my website, Perceptive Public Relations. So, yay, let's kick off this Author Talk for Monday, July 9th, 2018. That means we're on the downside of 2018. Wow. So, Russell, we normally talk about the weekend, everybody's weekend, but today we were going to do something a little bit different. And what did you want to talk about to get started?
Friday morning, you and I were lucky enough to be on Amy's radio show. And I got to tell you, it was so fun. It was so professional. Her offices are big time. Amy, I was so impressed.
Oh,
and
good.
what a group of characters you work with at that radio station.
I do. I work with awesome people. They are fantastic.
And you know, in spite of the fact that we had to get up early, I had to get up real early because I live in Cyprus. And we got there at 8 on a Friday morning. The traffic wasn't that bad. But I felt great all day long just because it was so energizing. Amy, you and Jamie do a great job with that. It was just very energizing. And the surroundings did help. I mean, look at your wall behind you now with your Abundantly Social. So you're in your office.
Yes.
And her talented husband is the one that painted the wall behind her. So her logo. So it really was, Russell. And I'm glad Russell wanted to talk about that today because it really was just an energizing way to start the day. So, Amy, do you start?
Amy.
Go, Russell.
Amy, how do you, if someone wants to watch all 3 segments of that, how do they watch it?
Right. So the first segment, which is the first 12 minutes, is on Facebook Live. If you want to watch it and tune in, then you can tune in to listen to it on vinyldraftradio.com or in the TuneIn app. But what it is they videotape the whole thing, and then they're going to put it all together where it goes and there's no dead time, like while there's commercials and stuff and we're not live on the air, we're just kind of like sitting. So they're going to edit that out, and then as soon as I get that, I repurpose that. So Take 2 with Jamie and Amy, which is our show, is going to kick off a YouTube channel that we're going to repurpose those on. Right now, they're on Vinyl Draft Radio. We're also going to put them there, and then they will be on our Facebook page as well. As soon as I get that, which I should get that this week.
Yeah. So maybe over the next week, you can share that to our pages, and maybe next week we can put it on the podcast, right?
Yeah, that's my goal.
Excellent.
Good, yeah. Good. So Vinyl Draft, DRAUGHT radio,
yeah.
.com.
Yep.
Or on Facebook, the Facebook page is where you'll see the first 12 minutes. And that's on Facebook.com/Vinyl Draft Radio, or just type in Vinyl Draft Radio.
Yeah, on the Facebook is Vinyl Draft Radio, and it should pop up. It does for me because I'm on it all the time. But if you don't have time for that, or you're listening in your car, whatever, the TuneIn app you can use for free and go to Vinyl Draft Radio, and it'll play the music that we're playing or the talk show that's on at the time. You can also listen to it that way as well.
And what was that app again?
The TuneIn app.
TuneIn app.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm not familiar with that, so I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. Everyone loves you guys. You guys have to come back. It was so much fun. So definitely something we'll have to do again.
And how is Jamie?
Interesting, Amy, in my recent writing program, the software that they gave us for a year free to write our screenplay with is called Final Draft.
Oh, nice. What a coincidence.
That is, because you're Final Draft and they're Vinyl Draft. So that is funny. All these coincidences that we deal with on a regular basis. So, Russell, the reason we're on at 2:00 today instead of 10 this morning is, and we do this occasionally when Russell, who is a divorce attorney, and when he has court on Monday morning, obviously that comes before him being on AuthorTalk. So, but you had an experience this morning you want to talk about, Russell.
Yeah, and this is, it reminded me of our podcast that included Darnell Wright. Do you guys remember that? Mm-hmm. And his very inspirational story? Well, they do the criminal before they do the family law in the court I was in this morning. And there was three young men came in hand chains on their hands and their legs. And they were young. They were juveniles. But one of them, on the end, his whole family was there and his extra family. And when the judge finally came in, before he even started court, he came around and he was holding a plaque and he asked, he said, usually when we have court, there's a lot of bad things that happen. But today, there's something really wonderful happening. And he called the young man's name, and the deputy, the bailiff, unlocked his chains and took the chains off of him. And then he walked around, and the judge shook his hand and hugged him and had his whole family come up, and everyone stood up. And he had just earned his high school degree, and he was young. We're talking about 18 years old. He turned 18 about 3 months ago, but he was still in jail. And his family came around, and he had just earned his degree, and his teachers showed up. Wow. And the judge talked about how he had done so well for so long, and he'd straightened his life up, and he's got his degree, and everyone, and he, presented his high school degree to him and talked about what a wonderful change the young man had made in his life, and he released him.
Oh my God.
And the family was crying and hugging, and I couldn't help myself. I had to go shake his hand too. And it was a wonderful scene of a young person changing their life, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
And that reminded Russell of Darnell, because a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, we had Darnell Wright on, and his book was just coming out called The Compass of a Conscience. Mm. And he's so impressive. I had met him through LinkedIn, and he had a similar experience where he went to court, orange jumpsuit and all of that. And he walked in, and the judge said, and he looked around and saw the room was like full of all these people in orange jumpsuits. And so the judge said, what I want you to do is tell your story. And these sitting down were all very young. He had been in prison for a while. And so she said, I want you to tell your story to them. And he did. And he said there was not a dry eye in there, because he had overcome all the things that caused him to go to prison. He got out. He lives in Texas now. He has a business. He's written a book, and just very, very active on social media. So thank you, Russell.
And saving young men.
Talking about him. Go ahead, Russell.
Saving young people that are in this position is his life's work.
It is.
Wow.
And he actually I introduced him to the people at the Richmond whatever the teenage youth
State school.
No, they what do you call it when they send the young people to jail or whatever? Similar. They're confined anyway. And they have a program there where these kids can, and they partner with the Fort Bend Animal Shelter.
This young man was there from there.
Was he really?
Yes.
Oh, did you get his name?
I wouldn't say it on there.
Well, yeah, that's true. But did you get it? Because I'd like to contact Susan at this youth shelter and talk to her because Darnell spoke there for them. A few weeks ago, they had an event and they were looking for speakers. I recommended Darnell and he went, and he was able to get a couple other people speaking there at the same time. So yeah, I didn't mean I wanted you to say it on air, but I would love for Darnell to know about that. Who knows? And we probably will never know who all had an influence on this young man. But oh, what a great story, Russell! Thank you for sharing.
That's an awesome story, Russell.
It is
a Monday motivational story.
It is. I love those stories. And now we're going to talk to Marylyn for a few minutes. And Marylyn has a motivational story for authors, or really for anyone that really that has an idea of something they want to do that's a lot of work. So Marylyn, first of all, Marylyn has a couple of books. And Amy, I sent you an email earlier today that had her book covers. They're PDFs, and can you get them ready to show in a few minutes, please? Russell's got a couple of other images, but they were the JPEGs. He couldn't get the PDF to work. So Marylyn, before we show your books, before we tell about your background, I just want to hear about your last year. And I know that we know the story because Marylyn is part of our author marketing group. And she's told us that story, and I've used it as an example again and again, and we'll keep on. But just tell us briefly the story of you and your pitch to Hollywood.
Okay. I want to start out by saying hi to everyone, and I'm really thankful to be here. Thank you, Sandy. And if you want to have a uber exhilarating, meaningful experience, what I've learned from being in a program in Hollywood where I learned to improve my writing for the last year, you have to be prepared to work hard. You have to have a plan. You have to be prepared to make sacrifices. And what most people don't want to hear is you have to be prepared to be uncomfortable in ways you can't even imagine. And that's the gist of it. If you want to have a wonderful experience, you have to be all in. Yeah. And so it started in 2016. I was invited to Paramount Studios. And so I flew there just for one night. I mean, it's Paramount Studios. And there was a program for other veterans like me. They said they're going to tell the story of this generation of veterans. So when the program ended, no one had put two words together that were very important to me. Women veterans. That's what I am, a woman veteran. So I left that meeting at Paramount and I said, you know what? I'm going to start an entertainment or promotion company to tell the stories of women veterans like me. So I started looking for opportunities to do that. What that original sentiment evolved to be was me finding a program through the Writers Guild Association West, and it's called the Veterans Writing Project. So I started that program in around April of 2017, and I graduated in May of 2018. It's a year-long program where we go in with an idea. We learn from brilliant writers there on site in LA, West LA. And if you can't make it to the monthly, well, first it starts out as weekly, then monthly classes, then you can come in via Facebook Live. And at the end, the program culminates in you having a product, a book, a screenplay, a TV series to pitch to the actual Hollywood executives that are movie execs and TV execs. And so on that last day before you graduate, it's showtime. And so those are the experiences that I've been talking to the groups about, and that have just made the entire year a wonderful, wonderful, life-changing experience.
And so one of the things that I learned, we talked one time for quite a while, and I heard a lot of the details, stuff that Marilyn was willing to go through, not go through, but willing to experience, that being out of your comfort zone. I mean, she spent the night at the
USO
USO at the airport a couple of times because it was expensive to fly to LA and then find a place to stay and place to eat, and to do that for a full year. So she stayed at the USO. If someone invited her home to their home, she went home with them. So, I mean, she was just willing to be totally uncomfortable, out of her comfort zone to do this. But backing on up, Marilyn didn't know there was any program like this. She did her homework. She did the research. She looked. Once she knew that women veterans was not in the limelight, was not in the forefront of what Hollywood was going to be talking about, she came back determined, I'm going to find out how we can get women veterans visibility in Hollywood. And so she did the research, found out, and you didn't even know about the Writers Guild before that.
I never heard of it. I never heard of it.
Writers Guild found that they had this program for veterans. She applied for it 2 years and she did not get picked. And it was the third year that she was determined to keep on going. She got picked. And it was a year-long commitment. Now, I can tell you that a year-long commitment to any program is tough because people get. And Marilyn, what were the statistics? How many people started and how many finished?
I think we started with about, in the class I was in, 99 people. 20 people were there the last day, and May 8th that actually pitched. That's a high attrition rate.
It is.
But stay in the game. That's the message. Stay in the game till the end.
And before you stay in the game, you got to get in the game, right?
That's right.
So, I mean, you had to get in there and be accepted and then stay in the game. So it took finding out about the game, getting in the game, doing your homework, doing your plan. And then you planned what your pitch was going to be, but you made some changes to that as you went along because of some of the things you learned in the workshop or the full long class, whatever it was called. You learned a lot of things about what you wanted to pitch. And the end, you ended up pitching a reality TV series about women veterans.
Women veteran businesses. Yes. But this is a mental shift first, okay? Because, I mean, this is how I walked around Hollywood. I had on the pearls. I had on my Marilyn Monroe t-shirt. Hold on. I had my Converse sneakers on. I mean, this is a mental shift first. I wanted to be comfortable. I wanted to fit in with the environment. I just learned about writing on a whole different level from people that have been hugely successful. I mean, it's the Writer's Guild. I didn't even know the significance of where I was going. I didn't know that it was the Writer's Guild where all the scripts from all your favorite TV shows and movies, that's where they are. And the stars come in there. We had stars come to teach us. We had famous writers come to teach us. I mean, who was
the most famous person you met while you were there?
Well, you guys might not know her, but her name is Karen Harris. She was one of my mentors, and she wrote for General Hospital for many years. You know, and so there were other people that write on shows like ER, the former ER, Grey's Anatomy. One of my favorite shows, Army Wives. I mean, I was sitting across from somebody that's married to Captain Kirk's daughter. I mean, it's just
Was she green?
Was
she green?
No, they weren't green. No. But I mean, you have to understand, okay, I'm more of the corporate business type. So, I'm not letting go of the pearls, but I am not a person walking around normally with a Marilyn Monroe t-shirt on and some Converse, okay? That is a huge shift for a person like me. I'm usually in a suit. I have a business conversation. This took me to a whole nother place. And so I had to get real quick. I had to get comfortable with that. I had to learn. I just had to learn about the environment and how you even talk in LA versus how we talk in Texas, how you approach people, how you bring your ideas forward. And then for what some people don't understand, there's a cost. There is a major cost, a financial cost, to have these meaningful experiences. I flew back and forth to LA over 8 times. I mean, sometimes when I would get invited to things, I would have to bear the cost to get a hotel. If you want to get a hotel around LAX airport, was where I flew in and out of, it's at least $200 a night. Okay, so thank God for the USO and for being a military person, because many a nights I slept there until my next plane came. And
I've been to that USO in the LA.
Right across the street. It's very nice. It's the Bob Hope USO. And I mean, if it wasn't for Southwest Airlines, I have my Southwest Airlines A-list card. If it wasn't for Southwest Airlines, I couldn't have did this program, because I would hunt the flights months ahead. I would book my flights. They were very affordable, under $60 one way. I did this for months. If you want to do something amazing, it takes money, it takes planning, and then you got to get a support team. Your classes and the people in the classes were a support team to me. If I wasn't in the writing groups that you did with people that understood, I might have just dropped out, because other people were like, "Are you mad? What is wrong with you?" You know, they said, "You're never going to get your idea going, your screenplay, your reality TV series is never going to go anywhere." I was like, well, I won't know unless I'm there and I'm talking to people, and unless I try and I complete this program.
Right. So those are some great lessons, and we've been sharing those in our class called Back to Basics, and some of the basic things, because if you're an author, there is no like, if you ever pitch. It's like when you pitch. If you're ever going to be on television, if you're ever going to be on a radio show, if you're ever going to be in Hollywood, or maybe you want your book to be a screenplay and present that to Hollywood, none of that's going to happen without you learning to pitch. So that's one of the things we were emphasizing in this last class was when to pitch, how to pitch, who to pitch to, and all that. So Marylyn was a great resource for us. So I want to take one little quick break and say thank you to those that are watching us. Celia Carranza, our newest client. Yay. So Celia, I'll be in touch with you later to figure out when you and Amy are available. We can have our call this week. Shauna, my niece, it was great to see you. She came down for July 4th. And Marylyn, Shauna, my niece, is just retired from the Air Force.
Oh,
she says thank you for your service.
Tell her I said thank her.
So Mike Brady is watching. Hi, Mike. We miss you and Fern. We miss you guys. So that's the people watching right now. Susan Garzinski and Amy. Hi, Amy. Thank you for sharing. So now let's talk about what you've done, your books. So this is AuthorTalk. Let's talk about your books.
Okay.
And you have 2 books, right?
Yes.
So tell me about them, and Amy will show the pictures while you talk about them.
Okay. The first one was in 2010 when I recognized, with all these resources, a lot of Texas veterans, Texas is the best state for veterans in terms of benefits. A lot of Texas veterans don't know about their resources. So when I started my organization for women veterans and military families, I wrote a book called 25 Free Resources Every Texas Veteran Needs to Know. There it is.
Yay!
Yeah, and it was reviewed by the Military Writers Society of America, and we won an award just out the gate.
Very good. Now, have those resources changed since 2010?
Some of the staple resources have not changed. There's 5 categories in the book: employment, education, entrepreneurship, enrichment, which is fun and free things, and advocacy. But there's so much more now.
That's what I was thinking.
There's so much more. So it's time for this book to be updated.
So Marylyn, the quickest book you could possibly do at this point is an update to that book.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Then you can relaunch it. And then you can do what? A press release.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna get that.
Every time I talk to Marylyn, she tells me something she just did. I mean, just did. And I'm like, did you do a press release about that, Marylyn?
I know.
She's going to, though, right,
I'm
Marylyn?
going to get some help from Amy and you.
Okay, but she's got to get the roof back on her house first because she was
from Hurricane Harvey. And the next book was for the first ever Women Veterans Entrepreneurship Conference in 2011. And this was the book that went in all the conference bags. The conference was hosted at the Westin in San Antonio, Texas, the Riverwalk, in 2011. And it was called VWise, Veteran Women Igniting the Spirit of Entrepreneurship. First time ever. I recruited for the event 200 women veterans endeavoring entrepreneurship. Now, gosh, what is this? 7 years later, they've serviced around the country in major markets over 2,400 women veterans. I mean, we helped with this movement to raise the number of women veterans from, in 2009, when I started, 100,000, less than 100,000 women veterans, to today, over 400,000 women veteran-owned businesses. That's what one person can do with a committed team, and you're committed to a cause. One of the things that I've learned from you, Sandy, is when you're doing that necessary work, you have to write. You have to promote yourself. I've learned this from you too, Amy. You have to use the tools you have, social media, traditional, advertising, traditional print, press releases. I have not been as astute about that part of things as I would have liked, but now that I'm in these classes with you guys, I promise I'm going to do better.
So that brings us exactly to our question with Amy. Is Amy, Marylyn says she doesn't have enough time for social media. What can she do?
Well, most people don't. When they're hustling out there, being entrepreneurs or writing their books, right? So most authors don't take me out of writing my book. I want to write my book. I don't want to focus on marketing my book. That already done that, right? Russell just wants to write his damn book. This whatever,
right?
So there's third-party scheduling apps that you can do. Okay. The greatest advice that I could give you is to use one that's built into Facebook for your author page and schedule out your week. So take 2 or 3 hours on a Sunday afternoon and schedule out your posts throughout that whole week. That way they're already going out. You've only wasted 2 hours, on a weekend. You can do it at night before you go to bed, however you want to do it. You've only taken 2 hours out of your busy week schedule that you have, and you have posts going out. You're going to be consistent. You're going to have to strategize and have it going out, but it's not taking time away from writing or you going out, and selling books or doing whatever. And that way, if something does come across, a picture that you want to take and it's, live pictures, then you're adding content that way. You're adding a post. But the best one to do, because if you use the Facebook one that's already there, which is you go to your page, just under publishing tools, it'll be right there. You can schedule it and things like that. It makes it look like you're live posting, which is another key element for social media. Is a lot of people use Buffer, Hootsuite, Sprout Social, things like that, CoScheduler, and those are all fine and dandy, but it says they get free advertising because it says published by CoScheduler, Hootsuite, etc., instead of published by Marylyn Harris. And people want to feel like you're live on there, you're posting these things, you're interacting with them. So it's all like an emotional thing. They want to feel connected to you. If they feel connected to you and a bond with you, they're more inclined to stay loyal followers and loyal readers. They're more inclined to buy every book that you put out there and spread the word and things like that if they feel the special connection with you. So that's kind of a loophole in, a busy schedule. This is the way that you can kind of manage it that way for posting and things like that and saying. Okay.
And she doesn't have an Instagram.
No.
Look at Amy. Look at Amy.
That's why she needs Amy. She's always said that's why she needs Amy.
Okay, I can't do everything. I can't run Hollywood
okay.
Instagram account at the same time.
Here's the thing with Instagram. You got to consciously, if you've never done it before and it's a new thing, it is a phone-based app. So you have to do it from your phone. Now, Now, a third-party schedule like Hootsuite will post pictures to Instagram as long as you link it. It will not post videos. You have to manually do that, and it'll send it. You have to have the Hootsuite app on your phone. It gets complicated. Now, it's going to be hard for you to do it. I'm going to just straight tell you now, if you're not used to being on your phone and posting from Facebook and stuff on your phone, posting to Instagram is going to be.
That makes it difficult for me, actually.
It's going to be difficult to do it. But the more that you do it and you have fun with it and make boomerangs and stuff like that, the more your personality kind of comes out. And the main reason you need to be on Instagram right now is because Instagram and YouTube are your two biggest platforms. Okay. Facebook's kind of dying off. So Instagram and YouTube are big, massive powerhouses in social media right now. The main reason is because it's all visual. So really pretty content, great photos that go with your blog post or whatever. It's very visual, but it's also interacting with videos. Now they have Instagram TV, which is a vertical, Instagram Live. Instead of being 60 seconds, they can be much longer, which is a loophole because if you weren't an influencer, you didn't have over 10,000 followers, your lives couldn't be more than 60 seconds. So with Instagram TV, they can be much longer. They're vertical, so they're more eye appealing and things like that. So you can play around and gain traction and do things like that. But Instagram's meant to be fun, but you need to have really eye-catching content and stuff like that. So it's more visual-based. So you have to create graphics and videos and stuff, but you can repurpose all of that from Facebook onto Instagram if you remember to do it. That's where it's going to get kind of complicated because if you're not consciously aware of it and thinking of it all the time, you're going to miss days on that. So that's where a bigger third-party scheduling app like Hootsuite is going to come into play. You don't have time to constantly be on your phone, which who wants to always be on their phone? Sometimes we all need a detox from it.
Okay, I want to do a shout out to Manning Wolf from last week. The whole Bookstagram that she brought up last week, I tried that this week. My Instagram page blew up this week because of Manning Wolf. Thank you, Manning.
Love to hear that.
Now, let me ask you, Russell. So is that because, do you think that's because you're an author and you followed it, or you think anybody can follow this?
I think, yes, I'm an author. That's why I'm interested in those people. But I was visible to a much larger audience because of that hashtag, which is what Amy always preaches.
She does.
So, and I wanted to shout out to Manning because she's the first one that's ever brought that up to us, is Bookstagram.
And you did, Manning, and that's a great, great thing. So thank you for sharing that, because I found there's in Bookstagram and Bookstagrammers.
Just do both on Instagram. Mm-hmm. That's what Amy's tells.
But I also, when Russell and I were talking earlier, I also checked on Twitter to see if that's a big hashtag. It's also a big hashtag on Twitter. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, in Bookstagram, that's your new hashtag. And then you go follow on Twitter. So Sue, you will see that's one of your new hashtags on Twitter. You go to the Bookstagram and do the hashtag and then start following some of the other people that are following that hashtag. So Marylyn, that's what I mentioned to you earlier. When I first started helping, so Sue's one of our clients, one of our one-on-one clients. And when I started helping her specifically with Twitter a month or so ago, she only had 40 followers. And she said, I just don't know how to do Twitter. I don't know how. So I'm like, let me take it over for you for a while and let's see. So I went in, which I love Twitter. It's always been my favorite. And the reason I love it is because I can just go follow anybody I can create. I can go follow them. And then I can stalk them, which I love stalking. And I can just keep following. I do. And I can keep posting to them and all of this. I love it.
You've only had 2 court orders telling you to leave people alone.
But you like stalking people. Sandy, stop that. She does not really stalk people.
I follow them every way possible to follow them, whatever that's called. And I go check out their blog. I mean, I really feel like I get to know these people. And so I'm not going to even talk about who they are, but I don't want to totally get myself in trouble. But anyway, so I do for Sue, I have followed some of the people that I knew she loved, some of the authors I hear her talk about. and followed them, and then followed their followers and followed their list and all of that. And so she now has 505 followers, and that's just in a matter of, just a very short time. So anyway, love. Thank you, Amy, for all the insightful tips you always give us each week. Any last thing anybody wants to say? Any comments, any thoughts? What are your plans for the week? Russell.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please follow us. If you like the video, like it, please make a comment. It helps our algorithms. Subscribe to AuthorTalk. So we'd love to have you do that. Amy, from you, anything going on this week for you? Besides helping me get this membership site launched.
What is not going on? No, just always remember, and I know that people get overwhelmed with it, and I know for me, I love it. It's the overwhelming feeling is exhilarating for me. But just go and try the new things with Instagram, try the new Instagram TV. Just get out there and do it. It's meant to be fun, and doesn't have to be edited and super professional, because if you've noticed, people are going away from that. People want more genuine, real, if you say something wrong and you're just like, oh, well, I missaid that, people want that. They don't want professionals. So go out and have fun with it. Don't focus so much on editing and spend all the time. Go and have fun and put something up and try to be consistent. That's the biggest thing. That's my goal.
So what about you, Marylyn? What are your plans for this week?
I am going to do one of the things the Writers Guild reinforced that's important, and I'm going to continue to hunt. And I think we talked about that. One of the things they reinforced, and I want to thank them for allowing me to be in a wonderful program, was everybody hunts. I don't care if you're an A-lister, if you're a newbie in writing, acting, whatever it is, everybody gets up every day and has to hunt. We have to improve the way we pitch, the way we communicate, who we are and what we bring to the environment. And so that's what I'm working on. What I'm doing is tomorrow I'm headed to a place called Fort Hood, Texas.
That place rocks.
The governor of Texas is having a business event for veterans. And then after that, I'm headed to San Antonio, Texas, for some business events there. Tonight, I'm having dinner with some people I'm very proud of. In Houston, there's the huge sorority boule, the Alpha Kappa Alpha, the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
Oh, did you go to that party Saturday
No,
night?
I didn't go to the party, but I went to the public meeting last night. There were over 19,000. Like I was telling
you
Sam,
should have seen the fireworks.
College-educated African-American women like myself that I had the pleasure to be in the company of. And it was a beautiful sight to see. And so, I'm just planning on continuing to hunt, because for my reality TV show, it's going to be on TV one day soon.
Yay. And I love that. When we were talking earlier, and I'd forgotten that she said that, just continue to hunt. I'm going to go hunting. I love that. So thank you all who joined us. A few more. Marco Oliver, let's hunt, he said. I would love to learn from you all and team up. Need some guidance for our team. Marco, give me a call, 281-989-8892. Would love to have you hunt with us. And Harry Capers. Harry, thanks so much. As an author illustrator, I appreciate you creating the podcast. Harry, thank you so much. I forgot that that's what you did. Harry is fiance of Susan Gardzinski, and she's the one I did the Facebook Live on last Friday for my client, Keller Williams Southwest. So we are just gathering this group together. We're hunting and gathering. So let's go hunt. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.